Hello again. This is a tabletop review of the Alfa CO2 Sport 10-meter target pistol. It's made by Alfa Proj in the Czech Republic. It's made of all steel and aluminium. There's no plastic on it at all, except for the handle, which is wood. It's a very high quality product, and I'm going to show you the various features of it. But before I start, let's do a safety check. First of all, as you can see, there's nothing in the breech. If I turn it over, this is the reservoir where the gas goes, and it's empty. There's nothing in there. So there we are. The gun is completely inert before I start. Okay. Right, where should we begin with this? It's an extremely high quality gun at an extremely low price. It's quite a surprise, this thing, because for ISSF quality pistols, generally speaking, in the UK, we're expected to pay over £1,000 for a competitive gun. Now, right at the bottom end of the market, you've got things like the Gammo, which is, if some people call it, an entry-level target pistol, but really they're not doing anybody any favours. True, it's got adjustable sights, and it is a single-shot pneumatic, i.e. you have to cock it each time. It has got that in its favour, but I would say that this gun here is really the entry level. It's available in the UK. You can buy it for around about £350 to £400, depending on where you buy it from. This one, of course, has been slightly customised because it's got a left-handed anatomical grip. It comes with a right-handed anatomical grip as standard. So if you're right-handed, you're very lucky. You don't have to shell out for one of these things. I had to pay extra for mine because I'm left-handed, but there you are. I don't mind, because even paying the extra money for the left-handed grip, I was still well in pocket. If I wanted to buy something like a Steyr or a fine work bow or something like that, it would have cost me 4 times as much. So there we are. That's the start of it. A very, very useful gun. I'll go through the various parts in a moment, but right now I'll just say what's in the box. What you get in the box: you get a toolkit which consists of a few Allen keys, a little spanner which you use to adjust the trigger position, that is, not the trigger tension or over travel or anything like that, and a funny little iron spacer. Apparently somewhere in the world you can buy CO2 capsules. These are 12 gram, these are the ones that everybody knows, but apparently you can buy 7 gram ones which are slightly shorter, and that makes it possible for this gun to use the 7 grams if you use the little spacer that comes with it. It also comes with, and other manufacturers please note, it comes with 2 complete sets of neoprene O-rings. So you've got 2 complete sets of replacement O-rings as it comes in the box. Moving further down, you've got this adapter. Now, this is a weird thing. You screw it on the gun in place of the normal reservoir cap. Now, this is the reservoir cap here, which I showed you before. This screws on in its place. Now, this is intended for people to be able to bulk fill the gun from a CO2 tank, but I've never seen a CO2 tank that has this type of fitting. If any of you have, please let me know, because I don't think they're available in the UK. It's a very strange fitting indeed. This is the end that goes inside. It's just a valve, and presumably you screw on some kind of CO2 container, and which fills up the reservoir inside the butt of the gun here. And then once you've done that, you uncouple it and you use it just as if you're using an ordinary pre-charged pneumatic air gun, as it were, but it uses CO2 instead. Anyway, that's, by the way, why this odd-looking cutout in the top of the box is here, and the nice fitted case that you get, because that's to take this oversized CO2 capsule. As I say, if anybody knows where you can get them, please let me know, because it would be very interesting. The other things you get 2, I'll put this down, you get 2 of these. These are the end caps, the sealing end caps for the actual gas reservoir. The way you load it with gas is you take one of these capsules and you put it in the usual way, and then you place this cap on top of it, start it on its way if you can, right, and then they give you a special spanner tool, which is this cylinder here. Very beautifully machined and milled, with very, very fine milling on it. It's all steel, and it's got a special stud inserted in the end of it. What you do, you put it on like that, you screw, and then once you've hit the actual air capsule, you give it a couple of turns more, and there's a little piercer that inside there, you may not be able to see it, but inside there is in fact a piercing plug right in the centre, and that pierces the gas canister, and from that moment onwards the gun is actually pressurised. The tank sits inside the butt here, inside the butt of the gun. If you take the butt off, you can just see it sits there looking rather like an oversized one of those. Now, many of you will probably notice that you can get these now. They're badged by Air Arms, the British company. What it is, they've done a deal with Alfa Proj in the Czech Republic to produce a pre-charged air version, a PCP version of this. And apparently it's selling quite well because a lot of people want, for various reasons, they want a PCP version. All of the competitive target shooters that you see in the Olympics are using pre-charged air. They're not using CO2 anymore for various reasons you're probably aware of. For instance, CO2 gas in these cylinders is very susceptible to temperature. If it's a very cold day, you'll get lower pressure. If it's a very hot day, you'll get higher pressure, which means that the trajectory of your pellets will potentially change. Now, I don't know whether this gun is regulated in any way or not. When I show you the mechanism, you can probably help me make that decision. I haven't been able to speak to the manufacturers about it to find out. I suspect it's not regulated, but I haven't chronographed it yet, so I don't honestly know, but we'll see. Okay, just coming back to these caps, you get 2 caps for the reservoir. Now, if you're shooting a lot, and I do mean a lot, I mean 1 capsule will give you well over 60 shots, and I reckon it gives you about 80 shots. The gun itself is so efficient. Don't forget, this is not a 6 foot-pound pistol. It's not intended for small vermin. It's intended for target shooting only. Therefore, its output is probably in the region of 2.5 foot-pounds. That's more than adequate for 10-metre target shooting. And since that's what it's intended for, why waste gas? Perfectly logical. The reason they give you 2 end caps in the box is because the neoprene seal around it is affected by the high pressure CO2. So they say if you've filled up the gun with CO2, put this on, used it, and then eventually the CO2's run out, when you take this off, you've got to leave it for a while, like half an hour, to recover, in which case if you want to reload the gun straight away, you use the other one that they've given you. So you use them alternately. Apparently the high pressure gas does something to the neoprene seal. It makes it less resilient, and it won't seal properly if you try and put it back in. So that's very thoughtfully why they've given you 2 of these end caps. But I'll just put one of those on just to keep the dust out of the system. Okay, right. Now, the other things you get in the box, you get a barrel weight. Right, nice little barrel weight here. Very heavy. And it slides on the rail, which you can see here, and you can slide it to any position that you want along the barrel. I personally don't need it at the moment. I may need it later on, but right now I'm leaving it off. But it sets on there. There's a big screw on the bottom, which you can see here, and all you do is you just slide it on, get it to the position you want by trial and error, then tighten that screw up gently, and it'll just pinch it onto the rail. It won't move an inch. Okay, so that'll give you a lot more options about the way you want to balance the gun.